Right guys, Dave Genvy here, aka Bad Boy Genvy, aka Satan, the Devil, Lucifer, the Antichrist. Yeah, that's me. I'm the devil, I'm Satan. It's true. You all know it. Everyone in the world knows I'm the devil. There's no hiding from that. That's the truth. Atheism, yeah, that's a load of shit. Jesus told you, so don't pretend like you're surprised that I'm here. You know, it's said in the Bible, the Antichrist is going to turn up. This video, well, all these videos I make, I do a lot of videos on my phone that I know Reptile Club can see. You know, all the reptilians, if they want to watch them. But a lot of people don't have the time to watch all my videos I make on my phone, because I make loads. People got busy lives. So these videos are kind of the videos I make that just talk about all the important stuff I figure out whilst I'm making the videos I make on my phone. Because that's where I figure a lot of stuff out. I sort of hash out ideas on the phone. On my selfie camera, my selfie video camera, I hash out a lot of ideas. I do a lot of writing as well. Do loads of writing, pages of it, figuring stuff out. And I've been trying to figure out these greys. Obviously, all the reptilians know, all the humans know that these greys, these little 4-foot bitches that control you with psychic mind powers from space. I didn't know about it. They don't control me though, because I'm such a badass. They've tried to control me or bully me or whatever. But the minute, I don't know if you can see on my tongue. They're trying to give me cancer in my tongue. They're trying to. Not very successfully, but they've given me quite a bad ulcer. I've had loads of ulcers on my tongue because they don't like me talking, you see, because the devil has a silver tongue. The devil's very good with words, and they don't like me talking to you and explaining things. It's trying to give me cancer in my tongue at the minute. They're not going to succeed because I'm such a badass. I'm such a really badass man. And I've realised something about myself. I'm essentially the warrior caste of humanity. So what do I mean by that? Well, most of you guys out there are pussies. And you're designed to be workers. Like often in an ant colony, you have warriors, you have workers, and then obviously you have the queens. The workers do most of the work, and the warriors do most of the fighting, and the queens do making babies, right? And that's how humanity's supposed to work. Now, the problem with a lot of guys who think they're warriors on this earth is they're very susceptible to psychic powers. You have been conquered by the 4-foot greys, and they're pussies. So, but you see, I haven't. I'm a badass, and I've not been conquered by them. So you need to make more of me, because what we've got at the minute, we've got loads of worker men. We've got very few warrior men, if any, other than me, that can stand up to the psychic powers of the greys. Because we need to become boss of the greys. And if you want to go out into the stars and do well, obviously other alien species are going to have psychic powers. And if you want to do well against those aliens, you've at least got to have psychic resistance. You've got to have the ability to resist getting affected by psychic powers. And I don't think our men, reptilian men, have that ability. So you've got to make more of me. And the way to do it is by me shagging lots of women, lots of reptilian women, to make more versions of me. The other way I could do it is just literally jizz into a cup to make sperm, you know, put some sperm in a cup and then hand it to a load of women. They just put their finger in it and then put their finger up their vag. Unfortunately, these grey cunts, They want to stay in charge of humanity. And the way they want to do it is by making clones of me. So what they want to do, their plan eventually, is for me to go to America, be with Ariana Rockefeller, and then be donating my sperm, my semen, to an IVF clinic, right? Working for Uncle Sam. I'm not supposed to know. I mean, it's the aliens who control everything. And then what they're going to do with that sperm is make a clone army. Because who's better to have as soldiers than clones of Satan, the baddest motherfucker that there'll ever be? And they actually hinted at this. They're going to do it in the Star Wars. Just in the film Star Wars: Attack of the Clones. In that film, Obi-Wan discovers that there's been this clone army created.
Can think creatively.
They're creating a clone army.
They are immensely
Little clones in there.
Without combat.
Now that alien there looks like the Greys with that black eye. We all know what the Greys look like. They've got those black eyes. But they're tall. They're tall Greys. Now last week, I talked about how I think the Greys are matriarchal. Not last week, whenever I did a video last, it weren't last week, when it was a couple of weeks ago. I said the Greys are matriarchal and the female Greys might be taller than the male Greys. Right, I think I've got that completely wrong. I think what it actually is, I was totally wrong last week on it being matriarchal. I think it is a lot of guesswork here, but I think they're patriarchal. And the Greys, they're just 4 foot grey male Greys, and they're all clones of one another. I think what's happened in the past with the Greys is you've had one guy rise to be king of the Greys, and he's decided to make clones of himself again and again and again to basically rule over his people. And like, if he's got better psychic powers than them, that's why he's king. That's how he's risen to be the king. And then all his clones have better psychic powers. They just dominate everyone. And you just have a whole world eventually of just male Greys. You say, well, how do I know this? Well, that film, The Matrix, Neo is supposed to be me. I'm supposed to be the one, Satan, the one in nothing. And in that film, you've got Agent Smith, who can clone himself multiple times. And in this film here, Star Wars: Attack of the Clones, they're talking about it. The other reason I know it's probably cloning is because cloning is not it's not what you're supposed to do. If you want your species to carry on for a long time, well, forever, you're not supposed to do cloning. You need to keep genetic diversity. Cloning's a really bad thing to do. I actually used to clone cannabis plants. So I'd get a cannabis plant, take cuttings off it, and then make clones off the same cannabis plant, which was fine. But eventually that original cannabis plant dies from old age. And then when you start making clones off the clones, and you keep doing that, making clones off the clones, making more clones off more clones further down the line, eventually it becomes harder and harder to make more clones. And that's the problem I think the Greys have been having. Because the Greys, they're not like me in the sense that I want to get new Earths. I'm a Roman, so I want to expand the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire needs to make a big comeback, and I want to expand it by getting new Earths, new territories, using war, violence, war, violence and war to get those new Earths. Whereas I don't think the Greys are like that. I think the Greys, because they can't do fighting, they're so skinny. They can do psychic fighting, but they can't do physical fighting. They were kind of content with just having one Earth until they came up against this problem where, because they've just used cloning to reproduce for a long time, and I think they've actually got rid of all their women, so all that's left of the Greys are male clones of one another. They're having this issue where it's becoming hard to make more clones. Over time, it becomes more and more difficult. That's not how nature's supposed to work, you see. So I understand when I become king of humanity, I understand I don't want to make clones of myself. I just want to use my ball sack to get women pregnant, and I am limited by the fact I've got one ball sack, I've got one cock, and that's it. Or I can only do what I can do with my one ball sack. If I start trying to cheat the system and making clones, then well, that's a really bad path to go down for humanity. But because the Greys are cunts and they've been doing cloning a long time, what they want to do is make a clone army of me. If you actually look, so this guy looks like a Grey, got black eyes, but he's taller than Obi-Wan. To say we, the Greys, are above you, even though they're 4 foot tall, in reality, they're only short. You skip along, you see this kid, they're using accelerated growth to grow these clones. And they want to clone David.
Growth acceleration. Oh yes, it's essential. Otherwise a mature clone would take a life.
Now you see on here, that's a David. So he's got on his shoulder, it says D for David, and then that black spot there is supposed to represent a dot of my sperm, because a black dot, because I'm the man of darkness. I'm Satan. But yeah, the Greys have put it there. That's what we want to make. We want to make loads of Davids, because they are going to be the best soldiers. And it's a really serious issue for humanity that if we allow the Greys to have access to my sperm, my jizz, once they've made them Roman legions, if those Roman legions are loyal to the Greys, then humanity will be a slave species forever. We need to make Roman legions the old-fashioned way. I'm not sure the Greys' plan would actually work, but that is their plan. They've laid it out there in Star Wars Attack of the Clones. I know it's really hard to believe, but it's just how it is. Our men are good workers, but I don't think, as soon as psychic powers get involved on a battlefield, they're not that great as soldiers. And it's very likely on a lot of these Earths in space, the enemy's going to have psychic powers. Maybe not on all of them, though. I don't know. The Greys, I mean, because what I keep thinking is, why would the Greys, I mean, the Greys hate my guts. The Greys don't like me, but I always think, well, why wouldn't they just have me killed? They could do. They're not, because they need me as this biological weapon that they're intending to clone. They're intending to make loads of clones of David. David the Devil. David the Devil, who better to have as a soldier? You know, clones of me. But I want to do it the old-fashioned way, which is just, don't clone me, just I make sons that will hopefully have the same resistance to psychic attacks that I have. So that's the issue. I mean, it's bonkers, really, but I definitely think they're patriarchal, the Greys. So I got that wrong. When in my last video I was talking about them being matriarchal. I don't think they are anymore. Because certain things they've done, certain people they've had killed. Like, I'm pretty sure they had Jimi Hendrix killed. Jimi Hendrix killed because of male ego. Jimi Hendrix was a guy, amazing on guitar, pretty damn good songwriter, getting a lot of pussy at the time, a lot of groupies back in the 60s. And additionally, you know, the guy had a big dick as well, apparently. From what I've heard from the groupies, the guy had a big cock. So he kind of had it all. You know, he's a tall guy as well, tall. You know, he kind of had it all. And he was speaking out about a bit about the aliens. And I think they just had him killed out of male ego. It's their egotism that gives them away as being patriarchal and male, I think. The women have ego as well, but and I think they're clones. The reason I think they're clones of one another is because really it's only since the Greys have ruled over humanity for thousands of years, since the time of the pyramids and before. Yet it's only in the last 2 or 3 centuries that they've begun giving us a lot of technology. You know, in the 1700s, you got the steam engine. The 1800s, we got a lot of inventions. That, you know, you got the Industrial Revolution as well. We industrialised only very recently. Yet the Greys have been here with their flying saucers and all their technology for thousands of years. It's only in the last 200 to 300 years that we've suddenly seen all this tech come from the Greys. We certainly haven't invented it. We're not smart enough to. And that would indicate that the clock is running out on the Greys, and I think it's because they've done cloning. There's a clock ticking on the Greys where they need to do something, possibly to get more genetic material from humanity. There's actually talk with the Greys of how they've been making hybrid reptilian / Greys, possibly because they've fucked up with the cloning. Here's a picture supposedly smuggled out from an alien base that's on Earth, Dulce base. You might have heard of it. Of what I think is supposed to be hybrid grey reptilians being grown or cloned, or who knows what. It's all mad genetic experiments. But the reason they're doing that is because they need to add more DNA, because they've done this gone down this route of cloning themselves and just having all male greys. They've now needed to sort of get DNA from elsewhere, and that's the reptilians. I think before they realised this was a big problem for them, they just liked observing other species. They weren't really interested in conquest, in war, getting new Earths like I am. They were more interested in, well, we've got our one Earth, that's fine. We can't do fighting, so we can't get new Earths. But what we can do is we can go out into space, observe from our flying saucers other species like humanity and whoever else is out there, and use our psychic powers to mess with them and control them and have games with them and make them do silly things, like have wars against each other for no reason, and fly planes into the Twin Towers, stuff like that. We can do all this silly, stupid stuff with them and have fun doing it. And that's it, really. That's all we can do. Whereas I think lately they have been pushed into giving us all this tech because they actually need to work hand in hand with us at some point, because maybe they need more DNA. They need to harvest more DNA from humanity to create these hybrids. Once I'm in charge of the Greys and humanity, king of it all, I'll be saying to them, you can't do these genetic experiments. What your job is now, Greys, Grey clones, is to teach our scientists the best you can about science, so we get as much knowledge from you as we can. And then when your species die out from doing all this cloning, tough shit. You went down a really bad path. You should have known better. You've got to reproduce the old-fashioned way with a woman to make a baby. You start doing cloning, you're going down a really bad path. I mean, the Greys showed us they could do cloning with Dolly the sheep. There's a sheep that was cloned back in the, I think it was in the 90s in the UK. Show that, you know, cloning can be done. So they know how to do cloning. You don't want them cloning me, making armies of me wherever on their planet, because then they'll use them against humanity to control humanity. And I'm a real bad motherfucker. You don't want loads of me that are loyal to the Greys. I don't think they would be anyway. I don't think they would be. You want me to just make sons, basically, and daughters, to create that warrior caste of humanity. You've got the worker caste, you've got the women, you know, we've got loads of sexy women, we've got loads of worker men, but we haven't got that warrior caste that's resilient to psychic powers, which hopefully, you know, that's supposed to be me, Satan. So it's just how it is. But yeah, the Greys are creepy, man. Patriarchal. They're all male clones of one another. Like I say, I think it's a king in the past who's decided, like, he's looked across at his people and thought, well, there's all these, you know, the women, what do we need them for? We can just clone me. He's looked at his people, he's looked at his men, other men. They haven't got as good as psychic powers as him. They're not as smart as him. He's looked at the women. What do we need them for when we can just do cloning? What we'll do is we'll just keep cloning me. And that'll make our species stronger. No, that'll make the species die out. Just like with my cannabis plant, I can only clone so many times. The original plant dies from old age. Then I'm cloning from the clones. And I can only do that so many times for so many generations. And then eventually you just can't clone anymore. You know what I mean? What you're supposed to have is a female cannabis plant be pollinated by a male cannabis plant to make seeds. That's how life works. And the Greys, thinking they're so clever, have tried to cheat life by just replicating themselves through cloning. And now they're trying to use us, our DNA, to make these hybrid monstrosities. It's just they've got to go extinct eventually. They've fucked themselves. They've totally fucked themselves over. They've got to go extinct eventually. It's just how it is. Tough shit. You're fucked up. But if possible, it would be good for us to get them under control with violence, obviously. Flagger them, a whip, a Roman-style whip to whip them up. If you've seen Passion of Christ, you'll know what I'm on about. It's in that film. Jesus gets whipped up with a flagrum. But anyway, we'll whip them up, get control of them, and then get them to teach us science before they die out. That's all we can do with the Greys, I think. So that's where I'm at the minute with my understanding of the Greys. So this video sums it up for you. And yeah, we need to make more of me, not with cloning, just with regular old-fashioned shagging of women, to make my Roman legions that then do the fighting in the stars. I mean, it might not be that important to have entirely my Roman legions. You might be able to get some success in the stars with the soldiers that we've got. But it's very possible that we might not have that much success. We need my warrior caste of Roman legions, really. The psychic powers are just fuck all to me. They're just a joke. You know, the Greys are trying to wallop me with them all the time. And I just find them laughable, really. So that's the situation. That's where we're at. That's where I'm at with my understanding of the Greys at the minute. But if I figure any more stuff out, I'll make another YouTube video and explain everything in that. So that's the end of the video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I'll see you in the next one.